Welcome to the 2021 New York City Candidates Forum, brought to you as a public service by the Henry George School of Social Science. The shortage of housing and high rental costs are issues that many New Yorkers, especially millennials, are struggling with. How do you plan to address this problem?
I have a couple solutions around this. The first thing I want to say is that I go by Kristin for Harlem or KRJ. And the Kristin for Harlem has to do with my Harlem platform, which are literally my political platform, my policies. And the A in that platform, the A in Harlem stands for actually affordable housing. And the reason why I use the qualifier, because people, we got a little running joke and people laugh about it. Um, and it's like, yeah, that's cute, but also the qualifier is needed. The reason why I say actually affordable housing is because that qualifier is needed because now affordable housing has become such a catchphrase that people are using it for things that are not actually affordable to people. So one of the things that we absolutely must do is redefine the metrics to be by zip code. Right here in Harlem, we're having a so-called affordable housing units that are based on a metrics of lumping us in with Midtown and downtown and taking an average that is not an average that relates to what people are making here in central Harlem. I'm also pushing for universal rent stabilization, including commercial rent stabilization. We need to also have a moratorium on new developments that don't have a racial impact study. We need to do a land value tax so that we can hold those who are making the most and exploiting people and doing housing profiteering, hold them accountable and actually redistribute those funds to the community who are responsible for the increase in the land value. So there's a lot to say around housing, and I appreciate the topic. And that's just a snapshot. I'm sure you have more questions for me. So.
Blighted and vacant parcels dot New York City, especially in the outer boroughs. What strategies do you support to put them back into productive use for both families and commerce?
A couple things. The first is that I do believe a land value tax would help put these vacant spaces back into play because it would incentivize landlords to use the space. So if you're being taxed on the vacancy, then you get incentivized to use the space and to make productive use of the vacant space, and even to lower rents because you're going to wind up being taxed on that property either way. So I think that's one way. The other is that I think we need to really increase financial literacy in general and build up a solidarity economy where we're making sure that people are learning how to invest and how to grow businesses and how to use spaces and how to own spaces in community because the driving force is going to be creative. It's going to be based on people wanting to grow and expand and have businesses, and that combined with holding those who have been exploiting the land and just hoarding, really sitting on the land. If we can come up with a two-tier approach where we have the increased financial literacy and the tax burden on those who are just sitting on vacancies, then I think we can make those spaces into productive use.
New York has had recent experiences with upzoning, Flushing and Murray Hill, for example. Evidence indicates upzoning capitalizes onto increased land values. What is your view on upzoning?
My view around zoning in general has to do with the need to totally revamp the process because right now when we have upzoning, we have increase in land values. The ones who are profiting are just those who own that specific space of land, but really the whole community is responsible. There should be collective community rezoning for space. It's something that I've proposed here in Central Harlem, that we actually look at going block by block and having collective community input in how we want our blocks to look, and build the zoning based on that, instead of building the zoning based on the driving impetus of developers.
With large development and infrastructure projects such as Hudson Yards and the Second Avenue subway extension, would you consider supporting land value capture strategies to return that land value uplift to its creators, the taxpayers?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely, I would support that. I think it's completely necessary. I think the value of land is something collectively built. So we need to see the money that has resulted from that go to the community. And in the case of Hudson Yards, it's straight up theft of what should have been used in our neighborhood, and for our housing and for affordability, um, for that luxury space.